Are you out to help as many people as possible, or are you not? And I'd beat myself down. Like, don't you dare give up after 1 month. Things are going to come together after a while. It's persistence. It's not giving up. There's no successful person or millionaire out there that isn't going to say they failed numerous times or made numerous bad decisions, because it happens. That's the entrepreneurial journey. And only being a year into this, I've realized that, and I've got a lot more to learn from here on out. And I'm sure I'm going to encounter many, many more struggles. But I've got to realize the sole reason why I started this, and that's why I'll never give up no matter what.
Welcome to the Scratch Your Own Itch podcast, the show about the things we think about, but don't ever talk about. My name's Logan Tyler Nelson, and I'm your host. These conversations are about creating a life worth living, with a focus on sharing stories about battles in our heads. Topics range from depression, addiction, self-doubt, past traumas, and everyday compulsive thinking. And my hope is that the show will just shed some light on anyone in the dark that feels like they're alone in their daily struggles. Please take note that this show is not meant to be a replacement for professional diagnosis or professional therapy. I am not a counselor or a therapist. Hey guys, so I got Tyler Kelly on today. He's a super awesome dude. I know him from my hometown. Tyler Kelly, who is that? Well, he is the owner of the online fitness company Logical Lifting. He had a lot of success in the industry. At the ripe young age of 22, he went from a commercial gym trainer to online commercial fitness trainer. His concrete business and value-oriented systems has brought him to where he is today in the fitness industry. But the fitness industry is not always the fitness industry. Behind the scenes, there's more and more people who are suffering from eating disorders, over-exercising, and negative body image issues. According to something.org, 95% of people with eating disorders are between the ages of 12 and 25. Only 10% of those people with an eating disorder will actually seek professional help. What is an eating disorder, you may ask? Well, according to something.org, it is an unhealthy relationship with food that may include fasting, constant dieting, or binging or purging. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Tyler Kelly.
Yeah, wow, what an intro. Thanks, Logan. Much appreciated. I'm glad to be a part of such an open topic today, and I'm excited to discuss it.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much for being on Scratch Your Own Itch. So I'd like to start out with the beginning and kind of do a little possibility hacking and reverse engineering.
Yeah. It was really, you kind of already touched on it, but it's a huge mind frame shift. There's so many games we play in our own head as to how we perceive ourselves or how others are perceiving us. And I think that's why I started bodybuilding in the first place, was because I had these self-image issues and I wanted to better them for myself, but it was almost a cover up by using the whole competition aspect as, doing it for that reason when it was really for myself behind the scenes. But it's so tough to get over, our sexist world these days. Everything's portrayed as looking your best, don't leave the house without wearing makeup. Everybody wants to be in their tip top condition, and people feel like they have to shamefully put on a shirt when they go to the beach or something because they're afraid people are going to be judging them by how their body looks. You know what I mean?
Well, I'd like to really get a sense of who you are too. What's your story, Tyler? Like, where did you come from? And just please let us know.
Yeah, man. Yeah. As far as, normal teenage kid, I mean, starting my fitness journey, it just began off with high school weightlifting, got into it and became a bit more obsessed with the whole the pump and just the mental satisfaction of having the endorphins racing, and it was just the overall feeling was great to me. So I became a little more into self-researching after school. Didn't really have a job or anything, so I'd go home and research fitness and all that fun stuff, and just became more into the industry. And that's what kind of started the competing aspect for me. But also developed a lot of bad habits. I started kind of learning from some individuals, I should work with a coach and maybe expand my knowledge and make sure I'm doing things right. But, there's unfortunately some mentors out there that maybe aren't the best fit for us. So my first couple mentors actually kind of drove me into some disorders of myself, eating on a very regimented eating schedule. And I really altered my social life and the times I was eating and going to bed. And I was very deliberate and forceful on myself on what I was doing with my fitness life. And it actually turned into a very bad habit rather than a healthy one at that. So that's kind of what kickstarted my journey into doing what I do nowadays, which is living a healthy, sustainable lifestyle while incorporating fitness into it and not necessarily letting fitness or your self-image take over your life per se.
Yeah, I think you and I kind of align with that, because I had that same problem. I would go and read these fitness magazines, and it told you to take creatine 30 minutes before you started working out, and I was like, I would just dead on with that. 30 minutes was the exact time I was going to start my workouts. Or then I would, hear some other guy tell me that eating 6 times a day was the only way to build muscle. And so I was, jamming food even though I wasn't hungry. And then I was believing that I was going to lose muscle if I didn't eat after, the 2.5 hour mark that I stopped eating.
Oh man.
just like you, man. And it makes you really take yourself out of having fun again. But I'd like to ask you, did you ever have any, bulimia problems? Did you ever, honestly, dude, like I've thrown up after I've eaten too much. Have you ever had that? Hello?
Yes.
Tyler?
Are you there? Yeah, you cut out for a split sec. I heard you mentioned, did I have any bulimia problems? Did you mention anything after that?
No, and then I just shared that I've definitely had that problem where I've eaten just way too much and forced myself to throw up.
Yeah. I can't say I have ever forcefully made myself throw up, but I have gone to the lengths of eating so much based on what a coach had prescribed for me. And by eating literally so much and force feeding myself, I have vomited from literally pushing so much food down my throat that my body reacted in a way to where it literally came back up. And that happened on multiple occasions. And I guess at the time it didn't really hit me like, wow, this can be overboard. Like I should not be pushing that on my body. But I was so dedicated in the fact that I've got to listen to my coach. I've got to eat the food that he's prescribed for me. I must do this. Therefore, that happened to me multiple times. And there was even witnesses at times, which is very, very embarrassing. So I wouldn't exactly call it bulimia, but definitely, a similar issue in the fact.
Yeah. So take us there. What was it like that day? Like, I kind of want to hear that story a little bit.
Oh man. One example, the first that comes to mind is definitely, it was early in the morning before a work shift when I worked at a commercial gym, and I was eating this massive breakfast. So one of my coaches had me eating, I am not joking, 12 ounces of meat 6 times a day, which absolutely sounds disgusting. I know it's hard to even think about now, but was eating my first meal of the day, and I was extremely full. It had taken me about 30 minutes to consume this meal, and I was actually on my last couple bites. And my mother was just waking up for the morning. This was like 7 or so years ago, and she's walking out into the kitchen, and I got that urge. I got that feeling. It was one of my last bites. I literally turned and I projectile vomited all over the floor, and my mom was like, "What is going on? What just happened to you?" And it was such an embarrassing moment. Like I felt so uncomfortable with how much food was in my stomach and what I was doing to myself. And I was so unhappy eating that amount of food. But at the time, it's just, I thought that was necessary of what I had to do to reach this goal. I had confessed to my trainer and he told me that's what I had to do. So that's what I did. But that is definitely the scenario that comes to mind. And oh my gosh, the embarrassing feeling of knowing that my mom witnessed that, even though she never has known the reason why it happened, it definitely sits with me as to what happened that day.
Hey, I just want to interrupt this show really quick. If this show is worth an hour of your time out of your day, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you found it inspirational or valuable, please head over to LoganTylerNelson.com and leave a few dollars or whatever you find affordable to help this show reach a bigger platform. It takes a lot of time to put it together. It takes, unfortunately, dollars to make it happen. But all I'm trying to do is make people feel less alone and more comfortable with sharing the thoughts we all have and need to talk about more. Back to my interview. Thanks, man, for sharing that. Thank you. I know that's not easy at all. But it's just the weird extremes that we'll put ourselves through and the pains that we'll put ourselves through just to kind of reach that ideal image of what we really want. And then once you kind of get there, and you meet the goals with the nutrition and all that, it's still, is it enough? Is it enough? And
right.
that's another thing we just have to kind of really teach ourselves is self-acceptance, which is so hard to do because, as human beings, we want to constantly change. Right. And why not? Why wouldn't we? If we didn't adapt, we would just die off. But that's a further, totally, that's a different conversation.
Right.
I'd kind of like to ask you, Tyler, when you were at your leanest and you looked at yourself, did you actually see yourself as being lean, or did you still feel like you could get a little bit leaner?
Yeah, I've definitely pushed it to the extremes. And even at that time, I actually was still unsatisfied to the point, as to where I was. A lot of people would look at me and say you literally could not get any physically leaner. But, my whole thing was with competing in bodybuilding, I wanted striated glutes, like no other. I wanted them to be ripped to the bone. And as a lot of us know, that's the last place fat comes off the body usually for most men. There's obviously problem areas, but oh my gosh, I pushed it to such an extreme. I had dieted for 6 months and lost 40 pounds and was shredded everywhere. It was insane, but I was still unhappy with how my glutes came in. They got a little striated, but not to my the level that I had wanted. So there was definitely some dissatisfaction even to the point I was at, and not to mention the mental state that you kind of asked, was I satisfied? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was lean, but the mental state that I was in was totally not sustainable and really not rewarding whatsoever. I haven't competed in bodybuilding in a few years because the mental state that it puts you in, depriving your body of that much food and forcefully going through this period of malnutrition is really hard on the body and mentally. It took so much energy for me to get up off the couch at times, and to think that I was still unsatisfied is pretty crazy to think of.
That is ridiculous. And that's the thing, people see this in the magazine and that's what they want. They want that. And that's fine too. I think I'm not the person to tell you don't do it, because I think to be able to push yourself through extremes, you always learn something. There's always a takeaway, but you need to do it with help, and the right help. You need to do it with the right kind of help. And if you're kind of doing it on your own, that's where the mental game becomes its worst. It's it's the same ideology of the person that ran that 4-minute mile. No one thought it was possible. No one thought it was possible. And then all of a sudden someone did it. And then those people that were doing it, were all doing it together. They're running these 4-minute miles. And so if you want to run a 4-minute mile, or you want to get shredded like your friends, do it do it with someone that knows what they're doing to actually get you there in a healthy way. So Tyler's the man for that.
Yeah. And, it's something that I also tell people, you've got to be in that process for yourself too. If you see those people in the magazine, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to achieve that at least once. I've got to get my body in that condition. Please, please, please do it for yourself and nobody else, because it really is a grueling process. And a lot of people give up halfway through because they realize it's not worth it to them. If you're doing it for somebody else or for publicity or doing it to step on stage, just make sure it's for yourself so that you're enjoying the process along the way and not making it more dreadful.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to just you right now. Have you ever tried to start a creation like a podcast? Or maybe it was a YouTube channel, and you're just really having a hard time creating content because you just don't know where to go. Or maybe you need permission to just consistently keep going. Well, I want to let you know you're not alone. For people like you, I created a Facebook group called Scratch Your Own Itch, Creating a Life Worth Living, because I believe that it's creation that keeps us going. And sometimes we just need permission, or sometimes we just need someone to keep us on track. Well, this is what this Facebook group is for. So please have it over to Scratch Your Own Itch, Creating a Life Worth Living. And if you are having a hard time finding it, you don't have to pull over the car. You can actually look in the show notes. I'll post the URL there, as well as if you need to find me, just send me an email, logan@logantylernelson.com. Again, that's logan@logantylernelson.com. Just send me an email, and I'll invite you into the group. This is a total free group. Free. 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 So don't wait another second. All right, you can wait another second. But honestly, I'd love to help you meet your creative goals. So head over to Scratching Your Own Itch, Creating a Life Worth Living. Because I know you have that deep curiosity of what it would be like to have your own podcast or YouTube channel. But sometimes you're just running out of ideas. Or you just need that extra push to keep you going. Well, back to my interview. Yeah, definitely. So we just had a little section where we just did a little advice giving. So I want to go back to your experiences with changing from now being so lean to now someone, let's say that there's someone out there that's wanting to gain muscle, right? Mm-hmm. But they've had these days where they look really great, shredded, and people are telling them, hey, you're looking really lean, and that's good and all, but you should probably put on some fat. What would you give that person? What kind of prescription would you give that person, or what kind of prescription did you give yourself to be able to change your mindset from being okay with eating again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I understood that it was part of the process, living in that state that the people are in the magazines for. I hope that everybody that gets to that level has somebody in their ear telling you, hey, it's not sustainable to stay at that point, nor is it healthy. So yeah, you've got to accept the fact that eating a little more food over time, and obviously trying to keep that physical condition that you're in as much as possible, but getting back up to a normal food level to where your body is much more regulated and you're in a very happy mental state is kind of key, not necessarily going into the old school bulk phase to where you're gaining unnecessary fat and unnecessary weight. No, there's no need for that necessarily, but eating more food continuously over time at a slow enough rate to where you're keeping an ideal physical shape, but also getting your body back to a strong mental state, I think is really important. So, it definitely took some people telling me that in my ear, because when I got to that level of conditioning that you mentioned, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to let go. I'm going to keep eating this amount of food and I'm not going to stop because I want to stay here. But you obviously realize, your mental state goes down the drain, and it's just not sustainable or enjoyable. So I think everybody deserves to realize it's okay to eat more and know you're not going to sabotage all your results by any means.
What was it like for you when you did start seeing fat again? Did you feel fatter than you actually were, you think?
Yeah, of course, because once you get down to that ideal state, you get used to that. And when you start putting on some body fat again, you think you're going backwards. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm backpedaling again. But once again, I had to realize, okay, this is part of the process, and it is impossible for me to stay at this low amount of body fat percentage without being a normal human being, at least that low. So yeah, I kind of had to get into this mode of acceptance and let my girlfriend tell me like, hey, you still look phenomenal. You look great. You've got an ideal beach body. You're just not completely shredded to the bone, but don't you feel a lot better too? I had to kind of outweigh the pros and cons as to, okay, yeah, I do feel a lot stronger. I can comprehend the books I'm reading and the content that I study, and not just be kind of an idiot up in the head, but hey, I look good, So I think there's definitely a happy medium involved in accepting that body fat gain to a point, definitely.
Yeah, because I think anybody can relate with this that's working out a lot. When they put in the work and they work out hard, they want to see they want to see themselves doing well, and they want to see, obviously they want to look better too, because who wants to be that guy in the gym that, some people are really fine with eating a lot of food, and they know that muscle's their only goal. Mm-hmm. And, but I think that once you get shredded to where you literally do have veins, like I've seen pictures of you, man, where you have veins all over your legs and stuff. And then you start putting on fat again. And, even though your weights might go up, let's face it, like looking at your shredded legs is pretty cool. Like having shredded abs is pretty cool, and having veins in your abs is really cool. And then when you start to see those kind of go away, you don't feel like you. I seriously think that people they just don't feel like themselves anymore once they gain weight.
Yeah.
And so you can talk about that topic of sort of like, how you had to kind of like identify yourself as a person and what you meant to the world when you were this person that was just Tyler Kelly, the super ripped dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I kind of let other people's comments help me realize who I was. And it even happens nowadays still, people even look at me in the state I'm in, or just my average daily living, working out for fun. No really set goal in mind of competing or anything. They say, wow, Tyler, you're super lean. Like, look at your veins on your arms. And I'm like looking at myself like, oh my gosh, like, are you really giving me that compliment right now? I feel like a completely average human being. I'm at a pretty good level of body fat, definitely much more hefty than I've been in my competition days. But it seems that people almost desire that more than that completely shredded to the bone look. Yes, males like you and I obviously aspire for that super shredded look. We like the cuts and everything popping and the striations in our muscles. But to the average eye, people almost like I've a little more meat on your bones, and I've let that really humble me and realize, okay, Tyler, I don't think I'm any more special in that super lean state than I am with a little more body fat on my body, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. Thank you. No, I think it really makes it all contextual for people. That, let's say you're someone that's working your butt off right now. And yeah, the thing is you can spend so much time in the gym and still not see those goals that you have inside your head actually actualize in reality. Mm-hmm. And when that becomes your entire life, it's really hard to just be yourself. And I think the thing that helps out those people is, like you said, be around those people and take in the compliments that you are getting. And if you're not getting any compliments, that's okay. That doesn't mean that you know that you're putting in the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's often times that people, I think, get down on themselves because they're working so hard and it's not working out. But think about the other side. Like, the only way you can really fail is just to quit and stop, right?
Yeah.
So like, keep it up. I think it's always nice to have a community. And so, Tyler, how did you find your sort of your community? Did you just work out at a gym and you found your community there? Did you find community online, or if you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. First of all, kind of banking off what you said, once again, if you're not getting compliments, that's okay. Realize the point that I brought up earlier. Why are you doing this in the first place? Are you working out truly to get compliments? I hope not. If you're doing it for yourself, then really it shouldn't matter nonetheless, because you are doing it for you and nothing else. So just to kind of reiterate that point, is I think it's a very strong, important one. But yeah, as far as my community, I think really branching out and doing some work into actually reaching out and communicating with these people that I saw as like-minded. I didn't just let my surroundings dictate who I was around. These negative meatheads that maybe are very judgmental and kind of make fun of other people because they can't put up a lot of weight, or they don't look their best, or they're noobs or something. So I really reached out to the positive people, whether they were online, even if they weren't local. You and I both live in a small town. And there's not a lot of individuals to connect with around here if they're not, kind of on the same page as you. So I went online and I was messaging people that seemed like they had a similar message and reason as to why they did things, fitness wise, as I did, and it was really great to have strong conversations with them and kind of discuss how we felt about ourselves and others and those we kind of, worked out with and things like that. So.
Very cool. Very.
Yeah. How about you? What about your community? I'm curious as well.
Hey guys, I gotta interrupt this real quick have you ever had a story that you felt like you needed to share? A story that you need to get off your chest? And you have this imposter syndrome in which you think that it's not good enough to share? But let's be honest, any trauma that you've ever gone through needs to be shared for your voice to be heard. So if you ever want your voice to be heard, please let me know. I'd love to help you with a podcast. Yeah, I make sure that I connect with people that are doing the same thing that I want to do. And that is, my new goal is to save 10 million people from negative thoughts and suffering. And I don't know if I want to go down the path and say that I want to save 10 million people from suicidal thoughts, because I think they just happen. But I definitely want to save 10 million people from negative thinking. And that is a goal for me where I can't just associate myself with everybody. I have to be kind of smart about who I'm putting myself in front of and who I'm consuming. And I know that sounds a little obsessive, but that's just kind of part of the sacrifice that I have to take, because there are just so many people that are master complainers instead of master positive thinkers. And because my mind is depressed, like even this morning I went through like 35 minutes of just fucking crying, dude. Just crying, like not knowing why I'm crying, just crying because of just feeling like I'm not enough. I've never fallen in love with someone and had like a real nice, awesome relationship. So because of that, though, I realized that what I need more of is just people in my life that are loving and kind and that don't have these like huge goals. So there's that constant shift that I have to kind of juxtapose between is going, hey, I need to be a little bit more easy on myself, or now I need to, really ramp it down. So yeah, that's a little bit inside my life right now.
Yeah, wow, that's huge, man. That's very honest and open. I appreciate you even kind of mentioning that of something so recent, as recent as this morning. Like, that's huge, and I wish a lot more people could kind of open up about that.
Yeah, well, I do too, but I know that it's not easy for everybody.
Right. And that's kind of why we're here, right?
Right. Exactly. When was the last time you had your big moment of just not knowing why you're doing what you're doing anymore? And how did you get yourself back on track?
Okay. Yeah. You cut off for a quick sec. You said big moment as to why what?
Big moment of not really having any motivation to keep going, just feeling so down and so in the dumps. And what did you do to get yourself out?
Yeah. It's definitely happened. Obviously life occurrences come up to where, something fitness related kind of goes on the back burner. But I think two things that help me big time is one, as you mentioned, the community that I surround myself with. I have a lot of people that, have a similar mindset when it comes to me as working out. So if I fall off the wagon, but they're still on their high horse, enjoying the gym, the program they're on, the progress they're making, whatever it may be, that always kind of gave me the kick in the ass to kind of keep going. So that's a big one. And then the other would be, just realizing for myself, why I'm doing this once again, almost taking myself back to that mental state as to why I was enjoying it before, and almost kind of bringing myself back to that. So, one example would be a program itself. A program, kept me entertained and going to the gym. Like at the moment, once again, honesty, I'm not really on any sort of program right now. So it's a lot harder for me to get myself motivated to go to the gym because I feel like I have no purpose when I'm there. I don't have a structure or a regimen that I'm following that mentally I feel like I'm making any progress on. So when I'm on a specific program that I know has a specific goal at the end of it, I'm much more adamant about getting up and actually making the gym, for example, a part of my daily routine.
Very cool. Cool. Yeah, I think that it's very important to kind of like speak about is that if you are someone that is like, if you're goal oriented, you're goal oriented, you love perfectionism, you love meeting deadlines,
Right.
And so when you're that kind of person, it's a good insight that you may need a program, and that's why things may not be working out for you, is because you don't have a program to kind of set yourself up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for me, like I'll plug in Mind Pump. I love their stuff. I think their stuff is great.
Awesome.
I really love. Yeah, dude. Like, so them too. That's awesome. I just think they do it in a way where they don't give you garbage. They won't give you like stuff that works for just the 1% that have like these crazy awesome genetics. They give out programs that work for the average person. And I think that's the main reason why the fitness industry is so skewed, is because there are a lot of people, let's face it, with just really good genetics. It's the person that was a quarterback in football, or the captain cheerleader that was like, I started working out like 5 days a week, and now they just have this awesome response to no matter what stimulus they do for their body, they're going to get results. And then people actually think that that's the best way to do it, when that's not really always the best way. And that's the sad part, is also too that the fitness industry exploits themselves everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And it's just more and more lies. And it really, really hurts me when I know that a lot of times it's not even truthful. And I mean, dude, like I've even gone on like your Facebook before and seen these awesome pictures of these awesome cars. And then you go on there, and I don't know if you mean to do this, Tyler, but people see that stuff and then they feel bad about themselves. And like, you can't control that. But I'm just saying, like, fitness industry is they like to kind of throw out that sort of like, I'm the Batman sort of life.
Oh yeah, totally. So true. It's kind of perception, as I mentioned earlier, the sexualization of our world, how everybody feels they have to look their best if they're going anywhere in public, or like you said, you see all these glamorous things of people posting the positives in their life, but not really talking about the back end issues that, we're here discussing today. So, it'd be a lot nicer to hear people open up more about their true feelings and the downsides rather than all the upsides. And once again, like you said, making those individuals that may be more vulnerable in a mental state of getting down on themselves because, oh, wow, I'm seeing all this great stuff about other people's lives. Why don't I have that?
Yeah. So, I mean, what is something right now? I'm just always interested in this sort of question is what is something right now that Tyler Kelly is thinking about a lot, but he just wish he didn't think about so much?
Wish that I didn't think about. Maybe I would say the first thing that comes to mind is actually the materialistic items that kind of I want in life. You know, sometimes obviously there's all things that we aspire to have. But to be honest, I really bring myself back down to earth and, you know, even thinking of places over in like Iraq or Africa, like how good we really have it in this country and the things that people complain about are just absurd compared to what's going on, in other areas of the world. And I think of the reason why I do what I do, the reason I went self-employed and to work for myself was to help people in a way that I wanted to help them, building my own dream and helping people from a place of, you know, knowledge that I've gained for myself. So not so much thinking about, you know, what I aspire to have in life, but why I'm actually doing what I'm doing, which is to help more individuals in a specific way, which is why I was so excited to come on this podcast as well, is because you've got a really interesting way of going about how you host this to really dive into the back end of why people feel the way they do. And, you know, actually releasing that more into the world instead of holding it back and keeping it to themselves. So.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks. I don't know if that's a compliment.
Absolutely.
But I'll take it. I just, this is just a way for me to keep on going.
Yes.
Because I just know that I'm more biologically predisposed to doing things that are harmful for me rather than helpful. And the only way to feel helpful is by helping others. Mm-hmm. So I'll take it. The gift of giving. Exactly. And I think that your online programs I haven't really honestly checked them out because you have to pay for most of them. But I do want to get into that sort of mindset shift is, where did you now have to change your life, like change your normal habits in order to actually do the online business that you're running today?
Yeah, definitely a lot different discipline, you know, paying attention to running a business is so much different than, being disciplined in other areas of life. Although it takes kind of the same mind frame, there's a lot more things, that you've kind of got to do to set yourself up to where you want to be that you may not want to do, you know, but, I sometimes compare it to simple tasks like making your bed every day or doing the dishes. You know, you've got to be very diligent in the tasks that you're doing every day to kind of build up to where you need to or want to be to run successfully, not being lazy with the people that you're taking care of or being lazy with the people that are investing in you and not looking at it as a money gig, but more of like, you know, once again, the gift of giving, realizing why you're doing it in the first place. Than ulterior motives such as income or money. You know, I think a lot of people start businesses or get jobs for that specific reason.
But what's that one habit though that you think has helped you at least in being healthy minded while also having a nice, efficient running online business?
Yeah, I think honestly laziness and procrastination, and that comes down to the actions that we're taking and the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. You know, sometimes you just get in this lazy mindset of I don't want to do anything. I'm gonna put this off because I just don't want to do it. But sometimes I think to myself, okay, why don't I want to do this? You know, what's got me so down in the dumps or lazy right now, not taking action on anything as to why I'm not going through with this specific project. And sometimes there's a lot of different reasons as to why that is. So I've got to find a reason to motivate myself once again, as we were just speaking about going to the gym. When I don't have a regimen going to the gym, I don't want to go to the gym. You know, I've got to get myself back on the ball and get on a program that's going to motivate me to want to go to the gym. And I think that reason that motivates someone to take action on something is different for everybody. But for me, I always remember to sit back and realize, okay, what's going to get me back on the grind to actually attacking that initiative.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that's a great idea. No, that's a really good thing to keep in mind for anybody that is looking to maybe make an online business or create an online business, where they have to have a program, like, especially if you're starting out and you're doing this alone, like, forget it. It's really hard. And I'm not saying that you can't do it, but you've also got to, like, I guess, take advantage of what you really love doing, so you don't get pooped out on doing the things that you hate doing, and that'll just take away time. And it's really hard to do that at first. I think everyone has to kind of do everything on their own. And I am speaking totally below my experience right now, or my intelligence at least, because I don't have an online business. But in my pursuit of trying to become an online business owner, I've realized that there's just so many things to do and so many things to juggle that you need to get some help. You need to get some guidance, even if it's someone that you really admire to be one day, and you're going, okay, like, I need to pay this guy some money, like, in order to get investment and, like, true investment that pays off, you're going to have to shovel out some money. Any experiences, because we like talking about the dark stuff and failures on the show, any experiences with buying into these online programs or these online coaches where it was just complete hogwash?
Sorry, you cut out once again. You're asking if I've had that experience?
Yeah, where you bought into an online business or something and it was just ridiculous.
I fortunately and gratefully have not. So I think I'm very fortunate in that fact, as I have heard a lot of stories since kind of starting on my own. Business-wise, a lot of people that have had, their own mishaps with working with coaches or mentors that burned them or were scams. And it's really unfortunate to hear. So thankfully, I haven't had that experience myself, but I think it is very important to still look into, hiring someone that connects well with you, working with an individual. Analysis paralysis is huge in this world, whether it's regarding a business or attacking anything else in life. People get caught up in so many things to do. And I think it's really, really smart, as you mentioned, to work with an expert or a professional in an area that can give you, a deliberate path as to how to go about something. And I'm very grateful to have invested in a few mentors myself that I really saw eye to eye with, that have helped kind of propel me to where I am today.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that you haven't failed as hard as I have. I have that deeply emotionally high feeling towards when I see something and they tell me what I want to hear, I buy into it.
Yeah.
And
I've been a very gullible person in my past too. I'm a sucker for anything sales oriented. And I'm not going to say that I haven't bought into things in the past that were a bad decision. So I'm very grateful when it comes to working with a mentor. I took the time to do my dirty work and my research and really make sure these individuals matched what I was looking for before I pulled the plug. And I think that's very important for anybody to do in any area of tutoring, whether it's for school or a coach for a sport or a mentor for starting some sort of business. I think it's really important to meet up with someone that is going to work, hand in hand with you.
What has been a huge I guess what I want to ask is, what is the biggest thing that you wish you would have known though before you started the online business?
Ooh, dude, patience. Holy crap. And with business particularly, so many people throw in the towel so early. And I was also kind of one of those people. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting any clients. I'm not able to help people with this awesome program that I built. Why don't people realize the value that I'm trying to give them? Why aren't I making any money? It's like all these things come up. And after, I remember after a month, like, oh my gosh, maybe this isn't for me, but once again, bringing myself back down to earth, like, Tyler, are you kidding me? Like, why did you start this? Why are you doing this? Like, are you out to help as many people as possible, or are you not? And I'd beat myself down. Like, don't you dare give up after 1 month. Things are going to come together after a while. It's persistence. It's not giving up. There's no successful person or millionaire out there that isn't going to say they failed numerous times or made numerous bad decisions, because it happens. That's the entrepreneurial journey. And only being a year into this, I've realized that, and I've got a lot more to learn from here on out, and I'm sure I'm going to encounter many, many more struggles, but I've got to realize the sole reason why I started this, and that's why I'll never give up no matter what.
What was the worst moment you had with it? Any embarrassing stories?
Ooh. Yeah, even with like my social media following, I've got a huge group of supporters and friends online. But when I first started out, I feel like people almost took me as a joke sometimes. I'd post out like I designed a few programs in the beginning that were kind of like a beta testing phase. Like, I just wanted to get a few hardworking people to go through the program and let me know their experience, the results, what they got out of it, if it worked well with their lifestyle. And the first few times I was so excited to put it out there, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see all the people that are excited to be a part. And literally I got crickets the first couple times I posted it. Almost very minimal likes, no comments, no takers. And like, oh, it hit me so hard. Like, wow, what am I doing wrong? Are people just not taking me seriously? Do they think I'm just trying to sell them something? What is it that went wrong? And that hit me hard. It really did. And that was at the beginning of my journey when I was very vulnerable too, as this fresh new entrepreneur. And it made me very self-conscious as to what others thought of me when I was putting my offers out there.
Thanks, man, for sharing that. I'm sure someone feels a little less alone about that. And I mean, no, it's true. Like, we put out we work so hard on this, like, this project or something, and it's like our baby, and then you throw it out in the world, and if nobody's really giving you compliments on this baby that you work so hard to create, like, you just, it's really easy to get motivated. And I just want to talk to everybody, and I'm saying this as, I'm not on a high horse, and I'm saying this, but I'm conversing with you when I say this, and I'm saying this to myself too, is that I know that there's going to be a lot of times when you don't have 200,000 views. You don't have, 300,000 million followers on Twitter. But the thing is little things do make big changes in the long run. And I'm sure you can attest to that too. I mean, when there's a mosquito in your room, man, I mean, it's just a small little mosquito, and it's gonna bug the shit out of you, even if it's a small little thing. Yeah. And it's the same thing like with Facebook. If you just show up every day and you're putting out something, people are gonna see it and they're gonna be interested. And even if it's something that you don't feel like is perfect, but at least you're doing it, and the little things every day are much more important than I think the big things once in a while, at least. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And baby steps, man. Progression is huge. Nothing happens overnight. As many ads and stuff. And like you said, you see the public eye saying, oh, do this overnight, achieve your dream body in 30 days, make this much money in this amount of time. I think people get so eager to see immediate results or a immediate return on their investment. And it's just, most of the time, it's really not the reality.
Yeah, it's really not. That's the worst part, is like we see social media as like being the life, like that is real life, but it's just not. And I just wish more people realize that anything that you consume, you have to take it with a grain of salt, and just realize that it's not always real. And you gotta put on your I think your real gauge, or whatever I should start calling it. That sort of like
right.
That thing that ticks off when you go, okay, that might just sound a little bit over the top, where it's too good to be true. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But hey, Tyler, we're coming in for a landing, my friend, towards the end of the interview. And I just want to first acknowledge you for all the stories that you've shared with us, and sort of the the insights and the failures and the successes of what it's like to be a bodybuilder and also a fitness online coach. And I want to commend you for your time and your incredible strength to keep on going.
My pleasure, man. It truly means a lot. Much appreciated. So thank you. Glad to be a part in this.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to give you a few last questions to finish it up. And whenever you're ready, we can start that up. Awesome. So if Tyler Kelly had a spirit animal, what spirit animal would he be?
That's an easy one. My favorite animal's always been a tiger. Ironically, I just liked how they looked, when I was a child. But as I grew older, I loved what they were about, what the tiger does, capturing its prey. They were the chasers rather than the chasee. They hunted after everything that they wanted. I look at life that way. If I want something, I've got to go get it. If that tiger sees a gazelle all the way across the field, they're going to hound that thing down and chase it till they freaking get it. Same with any goal, whether it's, as we've been talking here, fitness related, business wise, family wise, relationship wise. You've got to put in the work to achieve something. And I think I want to resemble a tiger in that way as much as possible. So
nice. I love it. What is a blessing that turned out to be in disguise for you?
Oh man. I would say my relationship almost, actually. I really didn't know what was, I've always been weird when it comes to dating. I always feel like I was wasting my time getting into a relationship, or I've always had this weird notion about dating, like it's a waste of time. I'm going to know who's the one when they come my way. But it was kind of funny in the gym one day. One of my coworkers told me, like, hey, that girl is always eyeballing you. She's always looking at you. You should really just go up to her and talk to her and just ask her out on a date, or ask her to dinner. And, eventually he bugged me so much about it to where I went up to my girlfriend now. It was actually our anniversary yesterday. Her name's Brianna, of 4 years. And I asked her out, and ironically, everything has turned out so well. And I'm very grateful to have her in my life. And, what I thought was going to be another disaster and a waste of my time, has turned out to be a huge life-changing aspect for me.
Very cool, man. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. And anybody that's out there that's a little scared to get in a relationship, you don't know until you try. And if you try and you fail, that just means that it doesn't work. So that's cool. It's a weird way to think about it, but it's honest.
Yeah, we all learn from our mistakes, so don't be afraid to make them.
Absolutely. Tyler, I'd like to ask you, my friend, what is a juice that Tyler Kelly would be if he was a juice?
A juice? Whoa. Oh man, Sunny D. That stuff is full of brightness. I love the sun. And I don't know. I always see, like, whenever I see their commercials, it transfers like power for me. So, oh my God, I would so be Sunny D of any juice out there. I think that's considered a juice, right? I hope so.
I wouldn't promote yourself as a nutritionist by saying you should drink more Sunny D, but
right.
We'll take it.
Too funny.
But guys, we're all just having fun and games, and just let you know, Tyler is a fitness online coach, not just a diet. He will give you dietary advice, but by no means, please don't do Sunny D for your orange juice supplements.
Yes.
I'd like to definitely ask, because my mind loves to live by mantras and quotes. What's a current mantra or quote that you're living by?
Oh man. They both link together, actually. It's kind of 2 in 1. You are the average of the 5 actions you take every day. I always remind myself of that. to do something every day towards what I aspire to be, what I aspire to have. And that also kind of translates into you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're around a lot of negative energy, it's going to rub off on you as much as you don't want it to. So I think it's really important to surround yourself with positive, like-minded individuals that are going to help you keep the mind frame that you want to have. So yeah. How about you? I'm really curious on that one for you as well.
For my personal quotes right now?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. It is one quote that I've just been really, 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 really trying to live by, because if I don't, I become an extreme pessimist about everything. And also, I really like the mantra that sometimes the subtle art of not giving a fuck just works. Like, not being so obsessed with things is just a currency that I want to be okay with in my life, because it was kind of like the reason why I started Scratch Your Own Itch, and I called it Scratch Your Own Itch, because it's an obsession. It doesn't go away. Like, it never alleviates, and I'm really good at just getting obsessed with things, but I'm not good at just being medium with things, and I really find there to be a value with medium, to be okay with just kind of doing things, because like over time, by kind of dabbling in it, you can really find yourself not getting down on yourself if you're not doing what? Take action now, and there's so many people that are out there promoting like the action thing, and if you hear all that noise and you keep hearing it you can get really down on yourself. And I don't believe that you need to take action always right now. What you need to do sometimes is do it your way, and your way is the only way. So just keep doing it like that, Oh,
I love that. Yeah, you broke the ice with the F word there too. I love it.
Nice. I love breaking the ice with the F word.
Oh.
My next question, my man, is... Oh, it was just in my head. Now it's gone. Oh, yeah. This is what it was. What is your worst habit?
My worst habit? Huh. It's actually, you know what? We're being open here. I'm going to admit to, I have OCD. So I have a lot of ADHD and OCD quirks and habits that I do. Throughout the day, like, that are just ridiculous. Like if I touch something with my left hand and I realize it, I think about it. Like even though I've walked past that spot, I think about touching it with my right hand. I kid you not. It's so weird, but like I'll sit down at my desk to do something, and I'll realize on the way down, I like touch something with my left hand. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to go back and touch it with my right hand so bad. But like it sometimes leads me to being so unproductive. Like, Tyler, why are you thinking about the most simple, silly thing? And it messes with my head sometimes. So I would say that is a horrible habit that I have, and I always try to break my little OCD quirks or habits. But it's part of who I am. I just try to deal with it as best as possible.
Dude, why didn't we
said that?
Thank you. We could have started the show with OCD stuff. This is a show about ADHD, OCD, addictions. But Tyler had to get comfortable, you guys, until he shared that. Look at that go, though. There's an extreme. I know this is the lightning round questions, but I'm gonna break it down real quick, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna show people the exact value of why we don't always need the answers in life. Sometimes we just need to get it out there. And by Tyler right now, he has this OCD that he's really scared about. He doesn't really want to go to a therapist and talk to the therapist about it, because then he'll get, administered some drugs or something like that. But rather, he just had someone listen to him just now, and he got it off of his chest. And Tyler, let me ask you, do you feel a little bit better now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely loosened up after these 55 minutes, and yeah, it felt good.
Like, just get this stuff out of you. Confess. Go and get it. Please, if you hear any quotes from today's interview, like, I don't know, something that Tyler said or I said, and you just Instagram, Facebook, Twitter about them, those kind of things that you put out into the world will actualize in your life. Like, you'll go and you'll start practicing those ideals and those those stories that you tell yourself in your head that just aren't true, but they can become true by you just practicing in that sort of mindset, like the quote that Tyler said or the quote that I said. Like, those are two awesome things that you can start living by today. That will make you feel so much less alone and less depressed and less anxiety and less anxious and less OCD. But yeah, thank you, Tyler. That was an awesome moment just now.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad to have shared it.
Thank you. The next thing I'd like to ask is a miscellaneous. This is a TV show, a radio show, a podcast that you listen to, something that you really wish more people tried out and looked at.
Oh man. For me personally, the MFCEO project is by far my favorite podcast I've ever heard. I've never really stuck through a whole podcast series, but that podcast series I have stuck with. As it's so real, similar to the topics we're discussing today. He talks about all the bullshit that people have in life and the things that they portray in different ways. And it's just so real. He's so open about what he says. And a lot of people would think of the things he says in there. His name's Andy Frisella. He's the owner of a nutritional supplement company, but the things he says are so like borderline risky. Like, oh my gosh, should he be saying that? But it's real stuff, kind of as we're discussing today, opening up about things that people wouldn't publicly admit sometimes. But as far as things that other people should listen to or of any demographic, I think just reading books is really important. Anything that has a like-minded interest or pertains to you, I think reading is a really powerful way to obtain a lot of knowledge in this world.
Yeah, but again, analysis by paralysis. Don't get too sucked in by. I think a lot of people will read books for so long where they won't do anything. But that's where you need to be. You need to know, like, because I think some people can ruin. Like, for me, reading books actually. For a while, I hated reading books because of how they're all just telling me to take action.
Good point. Yeah.
And it was like, yo, I'm reading your book. I'm trying to educate myself right now. Like, I can't just put you down and now like go start an online business. Like, get off my back. Like, every podcast I listen to now uses the abbreviation of TAN, like take action now. And I'm like, yo,
geez. Yeah.
I'm trying to learn from you though. Don't do that to me. Don't push me away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn from you.
No, totally. I agree, and back to the whole like book reading, it takes me honestly 5 to 6 months to read a book, not because I'm a slow reader or because I'm not into it, but because I try to digest so much of that material. I read a chapter at a time and I let myself think about it. For like the next week, every day, if I take 5 minutes and think about that chapter that I read, I let it digest rather than just speed reading through that book, not comprehending any of it and moving on to the next book that I'm hoping is going to create some positive shift within me,
I love it. See, that's the realness that I want. I want more premium truth juice to happen on this show because
whoa,
I know, right?
Premium truth juice. Wow.
Well, no one ever admits to like taking a book and actually reading it for 5 months. Like, so many people are just only about the exception. Like, yo, I read a book in 2 days and all right, so what? Like, I don't care that you read a book in 2 days. Like, that's great. I mean, yes, you have bragging rights now. Yeah, but what you really get out of it is the most thing. Like, that's why I'm kind of against like college. Anybody that's just going to college to just go to waste some time, like, you got to know your why. You got to know what kind of itch you're trying to scratch. Like, if you're really curious about it, then go for it. But if you're not curious about anything, then don't go to college and just spend money to spend money. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's a side tangent. Really back. This is part of my ADHD, man. I go back and forth.
No worries.
I don't have like a real podcast format yet. One day, maybe.
I love it.
The one really awesome question I love to ask people though is if you had 3 minutes, Tyler, to share with your family, your friends, your loved ones, your community, and this was the only thing that they had to remember you by, what would you want to put in that 3 minutes?
Oh man. That everything I've done has been to benefit those around me. Once again, the gift of giving is so powerful to me. It means more than anything. And the reason that I enjoy making a good amount of money, or I enjoy helping people, is because I get a great satisfaction by the people that I can help, and translating into money. A lot of people think, wealthy people are selfish, or, using it for their own reasons, the luxurious things in life. But to be honest, I want to make a good amount of money so that I can give back in tremendous ways. Rather than volunteering at a shelter, I would love to be able to donate a good amount of money to a shelter and help them benefit way more people than I could have helped personally, if that makes sense. So just having an abundance of everything in life to be able to benefit as many people as possible, that's what's made me feel good. And I hope that when I pass and move on to another life, that people remember me as, wow, yeah, that guy was really helpful in my journey, and he tried to help as many people as possible as well with, his own gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tyler, for that. That's beautiful, meaningful, and just so true. And guys, at the end of the day, if anyone's listening to this, I think that more people will probably go and say and talk about the things that you did for them that was meaningful, that was like, hey, you were always someone that quote, tweeted out motivational stuff, or you helped someone when they were having trouble carrying out their groceries, versus the person that goes, why did Tyler have to go? He had such perfect abs. He had such perfect abs. And like, that stuff does matter, and I know, and I'm not making fun of it, because I think if it motivates you to get in better shape and health wise, but remember, if you identify yourself with only that, then you need to look at your core values and really make sense of what your core values are. So,
yes. You're such a dork.
No, dude, I'm not a dork. No, but Tyler, I would just want to appreciate all the time that you took for us today and shared with us. And a lot of the stuff you said was really, really helpful for me, and I know it will be for others. And if people want to find more of you and they want to connect with you, because I'm all about that, like, I want people to actually not just like listen to these interviews and go, oh, that was a nice interview, but actually like connect with these people that are on there, because they're going through stuff and they're now sharing a part of themselves that is deeply, deeply vulnerable, that they don't usually share about. So where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very active on my social media pages, both Facebook and Instagram. /tkelly4242 is my name. And then also my website, logicallifting.com. There's a hyphen between logical and lifting. But that's my website as well, where you can get in touch with me. I love connecting with people on multiple different levels, and just having phone calls. That's one thing I actually hold myself to each week, is that I told myself to have 10 phone calls every week, whether it's with old friends, people that I get along with. But I think that really helps me stay in a positive mental state from working at home. I'm home a lot, so it's nice to just connect with new individuals. So don't be afraid to reach out, if I've touched your heart in any way, as I love connecting with new individuals of all different areas.
Oh, man. See, Tyler Kelly, he's the man. Like, he just, no, I'm being serious. Like, he just wants to connect with people, and that's so awesome. So, again, thank you upon thank yous, Tyler Kelly, for being on Scratch Your Own Itch. Maybe we can get you on here again sometime.
Yes. Thanks again for having me a part, and great connecting with you as well, Logan.
Absolutely. All right, guys, there's another episode of Scratch Your Own Itch with Tyler Kelly and myself. Wow. That was something. Just to get the insider look on what Tyler had to go through to compete at the level that he did. and also the repercussions from it. And I loved how open he was. I don't think he talks about this kind of stuff very often. And so I really appreciated the openness and the authenticity and all that. But guys, really, please, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the show by just listening. And if you really want to go above and beyond, you could leave me a review on iTunes. Just scroll down. It's super simple. Just go down to reviews, or if you're on an Android device, you go down to the reviews area and just leave a few words of thoughts. Anything that you're thinking about the show. And I'd love to read your review out on a later date. And also, if you want to hit that subscribe button so you can get updated on new shows, it's pretty simple. All you do is just click on that subscribe button and you're done. But thanks again, guys, for just supporting the show by listening. And if you found it inspirational, valuable, or anything else, please hit that share button so this sort of work can get discussed about more. Again, this show is always about making you feel less alone. And with that being said, you matter and you're enough.